Last minute, I booked a flight to Georgia. I flew down there, rented a car, drove to a Walmart, bought a bunch of big bins, and then drove an hour and a half to a friend's house because he was having health issues and could no longer take care of his giant tortoises. I then turned around and proceeded to head straight back up the coast to New Jersey in one shot, but things got a little heavy and I did need to stop for the night. Thank you, you got it, absolutely. Of course, yeah. They're in good hands, I promise.
I know.
That was emotional and that was moving. I've known Paul for a while, and it's unfortunate to see him going through this, but he did the right thing. It's that. But it's lights out for me right now, guys. I am beat. Well, I'm back, we're here, it's a beautiful day, and I'm happy to introduce to you guys the brand new members of Garden State Tortoise. This is Savannah. She's a South African giant leopard tortoise. You can see just how big she is. Her and the other tortoise that came with her measure 20 inches. That's right, the leopard tortoise is the 4th largest tortoise species on planet Earth. And let me tell you, some of them get absolutely huge. The South African giants, well, you can see how they got their name. Savannah is a beautiful, wonderful, quintessential example of this iconic African species. And let me show you the other one. This one's name is Tembo, which means elephant. And well, she looks like an elephant in a shell, doesn't she? These animals were grown by a friend of ours from little hatchlings. And in fact, when he first got them, they were a little bit pyramided, but now look at how amazing they look. You actually will see leopard tortoises in their native Africa that have far more pyramiding than this on their shells. So these animals literally almost look wild. He did an absolutely fantastic job with them, including the other animals that we got from him, which were 3 adult male sulcata tortoises and 2 adult male marginated tortoises. But there's a really cool story about the marginated tortoises too. We hatched these 2 male marginated tortoises ourselves in 2015, and our friend Paul, who had to give these animals up, raised them from little itty bitty babies. And what's so cool about these is that they were produced by a very iconic animal we used to have here at Garden State Tortoise who was very dear to our hearts. His name was Mr. Mons, and he was the record size for a marginated tortoise in the United States. And in fact, even in parts of Europe, people had said they hadn't seen one quite as big. He measured 15 inches. And cool fact about him is that he actually has a very similar story to Athena, our giant Eastern Hermann's tortoise. Both of them came from California after being found just walking down the street over 40 plus years ago. And even though they didn't come from the same person, it's kind of weird that they had like the same story. Athena is of course still with us and improving from her health issues back in the fall, but Mons unfortunately did not make it, and he did pass away, most likely to his extreme old age. Because let me tell you, this tortoise was like a dinosaur, but his personality was incredible. He used to chase our dog right out of his pen, and these are his sons. And what's really, really cool about it is, look at the size of this one right here in my left hand. This is a 2015 animal. You guys know how long tortoises live and how long it takes them to grow. This animal is already really big and well past breeding size, or typical breeding size, for Testudo marginata, the marginated tortoise. This guy, more typical size for his age, but also is one of Mons' sons. And Casey and I are both so excited to welcome these animals back to our facility. And now we have a living legacy for Mons in our hands right here. Both these animals are super healthy, and it's gonna be cool to see if they get as big as he was. So, really excited to be back with these animals. Paul is an amazing person who's done an absolutely phenomenal job on raising his tortoises. It was a very hard decision for him to make, but he did the right thing. And we've talked about that in previous videos, where you gotta have a plan in place, and you gotta act before something goes wrong. Paul knew he couldn't take care of these animals properly anymore, so he called me, we made arrangements, and I got down there as fast as I could. I got the pen ready for the leopard tortoises, and of course all the others. They're safe, they're happy, healthy. They're gonna be doing fantastic here. So Paul, thank you, and thank you for taking such good care of your animals. But we're not done. Today, we've got to put together a brand new enclosure out here on our property for a very odd African species of tortoise. All right, we're on day 2 now. I spent the whole first day just putting together a simple rectangle out of scrap wood. And I had a lot of this pressure treated lumber lying around, and I went ahead and just put together an awesome but efficient and simple outdoor enclosure for our African pancake tortoises. Indoor and outdoor accommodation is really important for tortoises of any species, especially if you live somewhere where they can be housed outdoors. So, I put in the boards, the posts, I backed it right up against our existing pens, which also saved me a whole wall of wood there. I had these lids ready to go from a previous pen that we took apart about a year ago. So all we need to do now is go out and grab a little bit of plant life and also some hinges for our lid, and we'll be good to go to start getting this thing decorated and getting the tortoises in. All right, so mom and pop garden centers, but also Home Depot and Lowe's are good places to find plants for turtle and tortoise pens. You just want to make sure you wash off whatever you get first. I've never had a problem with them. Used Home Depot, Lowe's plants for 20-something years now. All right, so this is a small enclosure, so we don't want to go nuts with plants. Also, pancake tortoises are not a forest species by any means. They live in out open areas on the African savannas, in copies, these big rocky outcrops that you see lions basking on. So we're just gonna get a couple plants. It looks like I'm gonna go with creeping phlox, which is safe to feed. So if they want to eat it, they can. And it's a low-lying plant so that it won't grow too tall, because this is a low-lying enclosure with a lid. Hinges are on, which means the doors are now on, so the tortoises are going to be safe. Pancake tortoises are by far, in my opinion, the most vulnerable tortoise species when keeping outdoors as far as predators go. Remember, they have pliable, softer shells. They're not complete solid bone like a Herman's or an Aldabra or a Greek tortoise. All the rest pretty much, okay? They're kind of the soft shell version of a tortoise, similar to a soft shell turtle, not in the way they are made or the way that they've evolved, but in a way that they are extremely, extremely easy to harm. So because they have a pliable shell, something like a hawk or any other raptor could pick one up, and those talons are gonna pierce through the animal's body immediately. Raccoons and other animals can make an easy meal out of them. So by having a lid, you're protecting them from predators, and you're also preventing them from climbing out, because they are amazing, excellent climbers. So pancake tortoises live in elevated areas, which means they can't be in low portions of the ground where it might pool or just get too wet or damp over time. It's New Jersey, we do get rain, we get those subtropical thunderstorms that come throughout the summer. Humidity is not a bad thing for them, and they actually love to drink from rocks, but if it's pooling and it's sitting, not good. So that area, not as high as I would like it to be. I wouldn't call it an area that floods by any means, but I still want to elevate the ground. And we're gonna do something a little bit similar to what you see right here in one of our Moroccan Greek tortoise pens, where I just use a combination of a sandy, natural soil found right here on the coast and some rocks. And then we're also gonna create rock shelves, or our own rocky outcrop for them. So, look at this stuff. That is an awesome consistency. Plenty of sand in that. This is excellent for tortoises that come from areas like African savannas or even parts of the Mediterranean. And it goes back to that thing that I've been pushing for what seems like forever at this point. Sand is not a tortoise's enemy. So much outdated information out there still points its fingers at sand being bad for them, and it's gonna cause impaction. Anything and everything can cause impaction if you're not feeding your tortoises properly. You can't just throw food on the ground, especially if you're using something like a moistened pellet. It's gonna get rolled in sand, the tortoise is gonna ingest too much of it, and then you're gonna have a problem. But the fact is, tortoises will purposely consume granules of sand and small pebbles because it helps with digestion. So this is an excellent, excellent, excellent substrate for a wide variety of tortoise species. Pancake tortoises are no exception, and I've been using this for a long time now, ever since we bought this place, and we found that the coastal substrate here is excellent for tortoises. My raised layer of substrate is in. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start putting together some rock work. And if you notice, I did leave some of the lower portion of the ground here because there's a lot of edible grays in here in the form of clover and plantain, edible weeds like that. Great stuff that the tortoises come out and browse on, and it's really good stuff for them. So let me start getting rocks, and we're gonna really start having fun. Fieldstone, great stuff for designing tortoise enclosures of all kind. Rocks are an important part of the natural environments of many species, especially pancake tortoises. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to put down a layer of rock first, and then we're gonna make shelves on top of that. And that helps prevent the tortoises from sitting on a damp environment for prolonged periods. If we're getting a string of bad weather, it's a little bit more natural for you. So let's see. The rockier the environment for pancake tortoises, the better. And one of the main reasons for that is because rocks retain heat. These animals will be able to warm up quickly in the morning, and they can utilize the rock crevices as they want. The tops of them will retain that heat and send more heat down into the lower crevices, but they can also cool off in those because they won't be as warm as all the way up top. So pancake tortoises live a life that's quite different than other turtles and tortoises. Of course, there are some similarities: basking, laying eggs, grazing, but they're very quick, meaning they can really move. They can actually run. They scurry as fast as they possibly can. They can climb really well, like I said earlier, and they need rock crevices to jam themselves into, and that's what I'm trying to create for them. The pancake tortoise's way of avoiding predation is by jamming itself communally. Like tons of them will go into the same little crevices all together. They'll inflate the lungs, the body expands, and they get jammed inside these crevices. And let me tell you, they do it in captivity, ours do it all the time, and it's nearly impossible to pull them out. It's remarkable behavior, and it's how they survive in a place with so many animals that want to eat them, having a soft shell, or pliable shell rather. So, I'm having fun with this. I'm creating some really cool dark spots that they can jam into. The further back they get, the more they can jam, and they will actually use each other. So if a space is too wide, 2 or 3 of them will jam together, inflate their lungs, and they'll all expand and really get jammed in there. It's amazing that they can survive that way. And they'll stay like that, inactive, for extended periods. And that's exactly what we want them to do here. Just because they are in captive management does not mean we don't want to witness natural behavior. So I'm getting there. Okay, today I'm gonna finish this enclosure and get the tortoises into it, which I'm really excited about. But before we do that, I'm gonna go and put these plants in. And the way I do that is I try to think about what the tortoise is seeing. So when you design any kind of enclosure, whether it's indoors or out, try to put yourself on the level that the animal would be at, what it'll look like, what can they use to hide under, what can be visual barriers, because when you're housing a group together, even though pancake tortoises are not an aggressive species, for the most part, they still need to be able to get away from each other, and visual barriers does help that. So if there's a big plant in the way, rocks or logs, just helps bring stress down. So this is a nice spot right here for a plant that'll eventually be able to reach up into the rock areas and stuff. And since the lavender is very leggy, that's exactly what will eventually happen. more substrate. We're almost ready for tortoises. Okay, we've got a pancake tortoise enclosure ready for its inhabitants. This pen has everything they need. It's got the rock crevices. Everything is in an upland area so that the animals can stay out of pooling. But I did leave a little bit of a low area with some grazing. That's important. They have so many different areas to hide. They can eat the plants in here if they want to. And that's very important that you pick safe plants. And I'll put a link in the description for a safe plant video we did so that you guys have some great ideas for your own enclosures. Now, as far as nesting goes, pancake tortoises typically nest the other part of the year, so they're kind of different from something like a Herman's tortoise that is coming into its nesting season now. Pancakes usually nest throughout the winter, so I'm not expecting any eggs this time of year or into summer from them, but they could start in early fall, and they'll still be outside in early fall because South Jersey is nice and mild in the fall and pretty warm all the way through Halloween and even beyond that. So if the animals want to, they absolutely can nest in different areas in here. It's fully protected from predators. Yeah, let's go get the tortoises. Okay, so I'm gonna try to get through this without Tiki the cockatiel interrupting us too much. You hear her in the background, I'm sure. We're here, Tiki, we love you. This is the indoor pancake tortoise enclosure that you guys got to see us put together. It was donated to us by the amazing Jared and Denny Lynn of Toad Ranch Cages. But this is their winter quarters, and it's great to be able to get tortoises outside for at least half, if not more than half of the year. And that's exactly what we get to do here. So it's 85 degrees today. I'm already a sweaty mess, so it's a great time to introduce an African species back outdoors here. Here we go. See, they're using those rock crevices. They're all the way in here. And they're inflating their bodies. God, it's so cool. Come on. Ugh. There's the dog attack one. If you guys remember her from one of the videos. She's all healed up now, even though that, you know, looks pretty gnarly. She's a great animal. A lot of personality. All right, here we go, guys and girls. Everybody's looking awesome. Give them a little bath. They're ready. Enjoy. I worked hard on this. All right, the tortoises are in their brand new enclosure for the 2024 season. It's gonna be awesome to see them interacting with everything in here. Some of them are already exploring, but the vast majority of them went right for those rock crevices, which is exactly what they're supposed to do. They'll come out in the mornings, they'll heat up, they'll hide during the peak of the day, they'll come back out later in the day, just like any other tortoise species would, and those rocks will retain that heat and allow them to stay at a good temperature, even on unfavorable days. And what's really cool too is they'll drink from the rocks. If you notice, I didn't put a water dish in here for these animals because it's not necessary for pancake tortoises. Now, if you're constantly picking them up, they're gonna void their systems, and that can cause dehydration. It's why we always say never pick up a wild tortoise unless you're doing actual work with them, because they can void their systems, and in certain areas like desert areas, we don't know when they're gonna get water again, and they don't know that either. So it could actually cause them their health or even their lives. But these guys will drink from rocks when we get rains, and you know, rain is no stranger here in New Jersey, so they will be getting some of that. And I'm excited. I'm excited to see them interact in here and just be pancake tortoises, and also to see this pen mature like all the other pens that we have here. So there you go. I hope that helps you guys. I hope it's a nice little way to learn how to build a simple enclosure. And remember, don't throw out wood. If it's pressure treated, it will allow the animals to stay in a nice, safe enclosure. It's easy to make, and yes, pressure treated wood is safe to use. We've used it for 30-something years now.